Good afternoon. My name is Tammy Rivera. I'm the Executive Director and Lead Organizer at Southside Organizing Center. We're going to start this Vote-A-Thon edition by inviting those folks, our neighbors who are Spanish speaking, to join us by calling our interpretation line. So we do simultaneous interpretation while we're on the forum and the Vote-A-Thon. The number for that line is 646-749-3122. When they answer the call, please share the code to enter into the interpretation line. And that code is 779-328-221. I'm going to repeat this in Spanish for our Spanish-speaking friends, and you can see that number and code on the screen as well as in the comments if you missed it when I shared it. Antes de comenzar, invitamos a nuestros vecinos de habla español a unirse a nosotros por medio de una llamada de conferencia que permite la interpretación en español de lo que se va a compartir hoy. El número de teléfono es 646-749-3122. El código de acceso que le van a pedir cuando le contestan su llamada es 779-328-221. Compartimos esa información en la pantalla y también en los comentarios para que ustedes puedan tener acceso. I am so excited again to introduce the co-hosts for this edition, which is our youth edition of the Vote-A-Thon. So with us now is Jeanette and Alexis.
Welcome to our Fall 22 Non-Vote-A-Thon Southside neighbors, followers, and especially our forum super fans. I am Alexis, the youth organizer here at Southside Organizing Center. Thank you for allowing us to be with you today for the fall general election to share non-partisan critical voting information and keep contact to you on this important day. We have been trying to contact all our Southside neighbors through the door-to-door visits, phone calls, and texts. It is our goal to make 25,000 attempts to reach you, our neighbors, which is approximately the numbers of households in our districts.
Good afternoon. I am Jeanette, Youth Coordinator. Our visits and our calls have included a care call, checking in on our residents to see if there's any information or resources they may need. We have done voting calls, checking in to see if there's any questions on voting locations, early voting. We have also called COVID-19 care calls, providing residents with information and even supplies such as masks, hand sanitizers, and door pulls. We know that it's been kind of crazy with all these calls, being bombarded with all kinds of contacts, political, car warranty, wanting to buy your home, scam calls, etc. And we're sorry if those were on overload. So we hope that our contacts were helpful. And we understand that sometimes it's frustrating. So we tried to keep ours short and offer incentives for our residents' time.
Please say hello in the comments so we can greet you and share our Vote-A-Thon on our page. If you already voted, share the number voter you were at your polling place. Please feel welcome to ask questions, and we hope you will take advantage of the opportunities we will be inviting you to share in throughout the day.
SOC is entering its 33rd year of service to you, and it's the longest serving grassroots organizing institute on Milwaukee South Side. Let me share SOC's mission with you now. SOC is a neighborhood-based organization dedicated to the development and sustainability of Milwaukee's near Southside neighborhoods. SOC works with grassroots organizing and for advocacy for residents to create a safe, livable, and economically vibrant community. SOC is committed to helping residents have a voice, vote, and vehicle act together on the issues that affect them and to make positive changes in our neighborhoods.
During each segment, we will introduce an opportunity for you to partner with us and enter drawing for gift cards for our Southside neighbors. SOC district boundaries include Pierce Street on the north, Oklahoma Avenue on the south first, on the east, and 43rd Street or Brewers Boulevard on the west. Sharing voting updates, interview one of our expert civic collaborators who will provide critical voting info and resources, answer any questions you may have.
We will be with you throughout the day. Today, we are hosting our noon session now, but we will see you again at 2 p.m., 4 p.m., and our last live will be at 6 p.m. Before we get started on today's voting information, we invite you to partner with us to determine what priorities SOC will focus on in the next couple of years.
Throughout today, we're going to have opportunities for you to engage with us. And so let me review the order. We're going to be sharing an opportunity and then interviewing a guest that is going to bring critical information and resources about the election today for you. And so it'll go an opportunity, an interview, opportunity, interview, opportunity, interview 4 times. And so the first one, and all of those opportunities are either surveys or invitations to register for an opportunity to get you engaged with the work that we do for you. And every opportunity that you engage in is going to enter you into a drawing for a $50 gift card. And that's only good today. So any surveys or registrations have to be completed today, Tuesday, November 8th. And then we'll do the drawing live on Facebook for each of those tomorrow. So we want to make sure that you dig in and get them in before midnight tonight. When I share the opportunity and explain it, you're going to see a slide that will show you a link and a QR code. We're also going to put the link and QR code in the comments. And so if you click on the link, it'll take you directly to the survey or the registration. And if you want to use the QR code, you take your camera and you place it over the QR code, and then it pops up. The QR code is a little square with a bunch of symbols, designs in it. And if you wait, it'll pop up a link as like a button, a yellow button with a link. And if you press that, it takes you to the survey as well. So those are all different kinds of ways that you can fill those out. Sometimes you want to take a picture of the QR code because you can't do the survey right away. And you want to save it for later. So your options on however is most comfortable for you. So our first survey, we're embarking right now, we're starting on developing SOC's plan for the next couple of years. But it's super important that you let us know what's important to you, especially after the pandemic. We all know the pandemic made us really think hard about what's important to us and how we want to live. And so we don't want to assume life is the same as it was before the pandemic. And so we want to check in with you now on what are your top dreams? What are you and your family's top needs? We have a series of different community areas of action and service, and you'll be ranking those like this is somewhat important to me, not important to me, or very important to me. And really that's going to guide where SOC puts its energy for the next couple of years for our neighbors who live with us on the South Side. So we invite you to fill out that survey. None of the surveys or registrations are long. They take less than 5 minutes. And so it shouldn't take a big sacrifice of time, but it does have a big impact. And so the post-pandemic survey, we'll put the slide up now. You'll see the link and you can start the survey now, or you can save the link and do it a little later. You'll see the QR code. And like I said, you can use that or save that to do that a little later. So we appreciate you in advance. We honor your time. That's why we're doing the drawing. And imagine if you did all the surveys today, you'd be entered into the first 4. So that's up to $200 opportunity to win. And it's right before the holiday, folks. So I know you could use some extra money. And then the last one is to like us on our social media platforms, and you can win a drawing for $25 for each of those. So please cooperate, and we want to be able to serve you as you see fit. Thank you.
Today, the polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Voting takes about 30 minutes. If you are in line at 8 p.m., they must allow you to vote. So please don't get out of line. If you do have any problems voting, please call the ACLU at 1-866 our vote. That is English speaking. For the Spanish speakers, it is 1-888 VEY VOTA, VOTA. Now we will turn it over to Tammy so she can navigate the My Vote website.
I'm sorry, I was muted. All right, folks. I want to say thank you to Jeanette and Jinx. They're doing an incredible job of hosting the forum. Before I get started on the My Vote website, I just want to say a couple of things. One is, if you're with us today, please drop a note in the comments and say hello so we can give you a shout out and know who's with us. The only way we can tell is if you leave a comment. So please do that. Also share the Vote-A-Thon on your page so other people can see the great work our youth program is doing and get critical voting information. I am not magically changing my backdrop. You see me here at my work office, and then I recorded those promos in my home office. So that's what's happening with the backdrops. We'll see which one you like best too. Why don't you comment that in the comments? Hola, Clary. Our shout out to Clary. She is our inaugural staff alumni president, former staff of SOC, and we're so happy to have her with us always still. All right, let's dig in. Oh, and also I wanted to mention is most likely it'll take you like 5 minutes to get in and out of your voting location, and it rarely ever takes, longer than 30 minutes. What I'd like to do now, though, is familiarize you with My Vote website, which is like the central place to get all your voting information. So I'm going to share my screen and go to that site. What I'd like to point out here is there are several tabs that give you information about voting. The first one is My Voter Information, which gives you all the things you need to know about your voting. It'll tell you your voting record, the list of the elections you voted in. It won't share what you voted for with people, with other folks, but at least you can remind yourself which elections you voted in. You can check if you're registered. You can update your name and address. For the next elections, you can request an absentee ballot and find your elected officials who represents you, and you can track your absentee ballot. I'm not going to demonstrate that because it requires personal information that we can't share, obviously, online. We're going to go next to find my voting place. This is important because after the census, some districts' boundaries change, which could impact where you have to vote. So, especially if you haven't voted since the census, you'll want to find where your voting location is. So here I'm gonna put, for the sake of example, SOC's office address, and then I want to share. We're not open to the public yet, post-pandemic, but we hope to soon. But you can contact us in all the ways you have been virtually: phone, email, social media, etc. So if I lived at the SOC office, this is where I'd vote. Dörfler School. And then it tells me the location, it gives me address, it gives me times. I'm in Ward 215. It gives me directions. And so this is how you can quickly find. And this information is available to you all the time. And you can switch it over to and see it in Spanish as well. You can Google my vote, mi voto in Spanish, and get that information. And then if you want to see what's on the ballot, which is always what people want to see as well, you click on that tab. We're going to leave the same address in, and for the SOC address, this is what would be on the ballot. Here we have the governor and lieutenant governor race, the attorney general, the secretary of state, the state treasurer, a U.S. senator position, a congressional position, a state senator position, a state assembly position, a new sheriff, and a county clerk of circuit courts. The other thing that's important about this election is that there are two referendums. Referendums allow our elected officials to know what the will of the people is, and you can weigh in on this. So the first referendum is about Milwaukee County firearms. And the referendum question is, should the Wisconsin legislature prohibit the import, sale, manufacture, transfer, or possession of semi-automatic military-style firearms whose prohibition is allowed under the Wisconsin and United States Constitutions? I'm Miranda. Miranda's our interpreter, and I just said that really quick, so I'll give a second for her to catch up with our interpretation line. The second referendum is the Milwaukee County marijuana referendum. The question for that one is, do you favor allowing adults 21 years of age and older to engage in personal use of marijuana, while also regulating commercial marijuana-related activities and imposing a tax on the sale of marijuana? So very important to vote today. Very crucial elected official positions, positions, and the two referendum. The next thing you can do is update your name and address. So makes it very convenient for you. You can register the vote if you haven't voted. You can vote absentee by mail for future elections. If you didn't request that for this one, you can track where your ballot is for those absentee, and you can vote absentee ballot even in person. Now, I'm not going to share the details of that because those are pretty much covered in the interviews that are going to be shared moving forward. So I am going to turn it back to Jeanette and Alexis to do the next portion of this segment.
Please say hello in the comments so we can greet you and share the Vote-A-Thon on your page. If you already voted, share the number voter your at your polling place.
We will now move on to the next portion of this segment where we share the other special SOC engagement promotions and to share our interviews with collaborators who will provide you with voting expertise and resources like how to get rides to the polls.
We invite you to partner with us to become a SOC block ambassador.
All right, folks, we're ready for our second opportunity for you to engage with us. You earlier, if you were with us earlier, you heard about our survey regarding the post-pandemic survey, asking you what your dreams and needs are as we set our plans for the next couple of years. And if you're just joining us now, you can go back in the comments for the forum and you should be able to see the link and the QR code for that. If not, I'm also going to ask the folks who are on comments to put the post-pandemic title in the comment, post-pandemic survey, put the link for the post-pandemic survey and the QR code again while we move on to the next opportunity. We, like many of you, were not able to celebrate milestones during the pandemic. And during the pandemic, SOC turned 30. 30 years of service during the pandemic. And now it's been a couple of years. So we're ending our 30 plus 2 more years, our 32nd anniversary. SOC happens to be the longest serving grassroots organizing institute on the South Side. And we're very proud of that legacy. But we feel the responsibility to continue our mission even more in these times. And so because we weren't able to celebrate, we launched a campaign this year to celebrate our anniversary with an engagement opportunity. So the campaign is called 30+2 with you. And what we're doing is recruiting block ambassadors. The block ambassadors are going to make sure that the people just on their block know of information, resources, and action opportunities by going door to door and distributing materials when there are big things happening or a new housing resource comes out, when we have our major events, when we do cleanups. And so if you're willing to be an ambassador for your block and just give out information to your neighbors, leaving it at their door, and also if you're willing to just listen to and pay attention to what your neighbors are needing. For instance, they might say, we always have problems with the city not cleaning our street, or we don't get our recycling picked up on time, or we're concerned about the crime in this area, or we heard there's a promotion to get, cameras, Ring cameras, etc. Then the ambassador communicates that on behalf of their neighbors to SOC, and we can all work together to address our dreams and our needs. And so we have a registration, and you'll see a link to the registration and a QR code. And again, I'll be repeating this all day because I know I had troubles the first time I learned how to use a QR code. It's a little square that has all kinds of little black and white designs on it. And if you pull up your camera to it, it'll pop up like a yellow button, a link, and you can click on it and it takes you to wherever the address of that link is. So you'll be able to fill out the registration there. And I want to remind you that we have 4 of these opportunities throughout the day, and it has to be completed today. And if you complete it today, you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card. And you have 4 opportunities to do that today, which is $200. And then at the end of the forum, you'll be asked to engage with us on social media, and we are doing drawings for a $25 gift card if you do those things later today. And so altogether, it's $275 of gift cards we're giving out today, and I'm sure you would really appreciate a little help for life today or some holiday spending monies. So please do fill that out, and we'll be in contact with you. The 30 plus 2NU has also benefits. Any major event or activity we do, those people who've been faithfully serving as ambassadors will be able to attend many of our events for free. And so we'll be meeting once a quarter in person. We'll be meeting monthly, virtually. And then we have our conference and our Legacy Retro Ball, and you'll get free entrance into that if you were faithful with your ambassador role. So it's a give and get situation we invite you to join us in. So that slide is going to come up, and please do that right away. None of our engagement opportunities take more than 5 minutes today. So you can do that immediately, or you can save those things and make sure you get them in by midnight today.
Up next is our interview with Jonathan Zuniga, Election Operations and Training Manager with the City of Milwaukee Election Commission.
All right, hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Jinx, and I am a program assistant here at Southside Organizing Center, also called SOC. Today's guest is the Elections Operations and Training Manager of the Milwaukee Elections Commission, Jonathan Zuniga. Welcome, Jonathan. Please introduce yourself and let our neighbors know what your role as Elections Operations and Training Manager is.
Thank you, Jinx. Yeah, my name is Jonathan Zuniga. I work at the Election Commission, and I oversee all of the election day voting, so all 180 polling locations, poll workers, and their training, the supplies and equipment that goes all out to the sites, and to make today's election happen.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that. And so going into voting, can you go into details about absentee voting, like how that goes on and what the process would look like?
Well, today, if anyone still has their absentee ballot at home, they request it, and you are not sure what to do with it, you really have two options. If you have voted your ballot, get a witness to sign your envelope, and you can return that absentee ballot to our central count location, the Wisconsin Center, on Bell Phillips and Wisconsin Avenue. If you don't want to return the absentee ballot, okay, you can go to your regular polling site and vote as a regular voter there. So just make sure to take your photo ID, and before heading out, go to myvote.wi.gov to make sure you are going to the correct polling location.
All right, perfect. Thank you for that information. And for the address, we'll put those in the comments as well. And is there anything you'd like to add about voter identification or voter registration? Anything the community should know about there?
Well, one, if you are already a registered voter, like I mentioned before, please make sure that before you head out to the polls, you check that you are going to your designated polling site. So just go to myvote.wi.gov just to double check. There's been redistricting, and some of the wards and polling places change. So it's always good to double check before heading out. And then two, if you are already a registered voter, make sure to take your photo ID, and that can be most commonly your Wisconsin ID or driver's license. But if you lost that, or if you don't have one, you can also use your passport, a Wisconsin college ID. You can use, if you're in the military, your military ID or veterans ID, a Wisconsin tribe ID. So there's a couple of other options that you can use as well. But make sure you take that form of acceptable photo ID. And if you moved within, in the last, since the last time you voted, if you legally changed your name and you want to register, or you're just turning 18 and you are a new voter, Today in Wisconsin, you can register today on election day at your designated polling place. So again, just make sure you go to your correct polling place, take your photo ID, and take a proof of residence document. So that could be, again, your Wisconsin driver's license or ID with your address, with your current address. But your proof of residence can be also a WeEnergy's bill, bank or credit card statement. It could be a paycheck stub, or any letter of any government agency, whether it's Social Security, Medicare, any government department at the city, county, or federal level that has your name and your current address. You can also use that as a proof of residence document.
All right, perfect. Very helpful. And then if people have any further questions, is there a resource or a place that they can go to find more information?
Yes, you can, again, myvote.wi.gov. You can check your polling place. You can see what's on the ballot. You can also just check your registration status if you're not sure if you're registered at your current address. If you want to talk to someone, give us a call, 414-286-3491. And we have English and Spanish speakers here staffing those phone calls and can answer your questions and provide any assistance that people may need.
All right. Well, thank you for the great information. That, of course, helps our neighbors have the resources to stay in the loop and make informed decisions. We at South appreciate everyone watching this, and we want to thank you, Jonathan, for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, everybody have a good night. I hope everyone who is eligible to vote remembers to vote. And have a good night.
We invite you to partner with us to become a 2023 member of the SOC Strategic Action Session team.
All right, folks, we're on our third opportunity during the Vote-A-Thon for you to engage with us. And what's great about those opportunities is every time you engage in one of them, you complete that task, you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card, for a drawing to win a $50 gift card. And there are 4 surveys or engagement opportunities that there are $50 gift cards. And then at the end, we have 3 social media platforms we invite you to follow us on, and that could enters you into win $25 gift cards for each of those. And so this next one, we talked earlier about the post-pandemic survey. And so I'll ask the folks who are putting the comments to please put the link to the post-pandemic survey and QR code up in the comments. So if you missed that earlier, that's asking you what your dreams and needs are now as we set the plans for SOC for the next couple of years. And then at the last forum update, we shared that you can sign up to be an ambassador for our 32 Plus You campaign, where you agree to be the ambassador for your block, sharing information, dropping off flyers, etc. on your block, doing a cleanup for your block once a year, listening to your neighbors and their concerns and relaying those to SOC. That'll include a monthly meeting, a quarterly in-person event, and free entrance into all of our major activities like our conference and our retro ball if you've executed your ambassador role successfully for the period of time. And so right now what we're doing is all next year in 2023, we are putting together a SOC strategic action session, a group of folks from across the Southside District to come together to address whatever issues are super important that come from that survey and other needs that arise in the community. For instance, this year we did a round of SAS, the SOC strategic action sessions around the affordable housing crisis. And so we invite you to participate. We're recruiting 12 folks. So if you apply, we hope that we will be able to put together a solid group who are committed to meeting once a month. And usually what happens is we ask folks, what do you think about this problem? What's causing this problem? And then what are your solutions to the problem? Because we believe the people who have lived the experience are in the best position to identify what the real problems are and what the solutions are. And then once we do a round of voice for our neighbors, then we add, well, this is some data that has been published around or shared around this issue. And this is some information from subject matter experts. And then you all will review your answers in light of that data and that information from the subject matter experts. And then we finalize recommendations and we work as a group to take any action that the group is interested in taking together. If you're part of that group, you will get a $50 stipend every time you complete a session throughout the year. And so that's up to $600 in a year. Why? Because professionals get paid. We all get paid for doing our work, and we value your time as well. And so we want to make sure that while you're deciding how to meet your family's needs, that you don't eliminate coming to the action sessions because you have to meet, how do you pay rent, and how do you purchase food, and how do you look for a new job, and how do you take care of your household and work with and do homework with your kids and take care of them, that it has a benefit for coming that will bless you and or your family. And so please fill out the SAS registration form. It only takes a couple of minutes. You'll see a link shared on a slide in a couple of seconds with a QR code. And again, I'm explaining what the QR codes are over and over today, every round that we do, just in case we have new people who joined us. So it's a little square that has all these designs in it. And you take your camera and you put it on photo and you put it over the QR code. And then in the picture of your, on the screen on your camera, it'll pop up a little yellow button that is the link to the survey. So you can click on the link in the comments bar. You can copy the link that appears on the screen, or you can go to it with the QR code. And again, if you do that, you'll be entered into a drawing to win $50. You have to do it today before the end of the day, by midnight. And then we're going to do the drawing tomorrow on Facebook Live. So pay attention and join us on Facebook to see if you were the person who won any of the drawings that we've done today. So go ahead and do that now, and we'll pull up the slide for you.
Hello. If you have not said hello in the comments yet, please say hello. And also share it on your Facebook, please. Share this live on your Facebook, please.
Up next is our interview with Anita Johnson, Outreach and Training Coordinator with Souls to the Polls.
All right, hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Jinx, and I am a program assistant here at Southside Organizing Center, also called SOC. Today's guest is Anita Johnson from Souls to the Polls. Welcome, Anita. Please introduce yourself and let our neighbors know what your role is at Souls to the Polls.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this interview. I am Anita Johnson. I work with Souls to the Polls. I am their outreach and training coordinator. I have been with Souls to the Polls since its inception. So I've been through a lot of different elections. And I'm very excited about this one and hoping that we can get more and more people out to vote, which is a challenge. But, that's life. So we're going to do our best to make sure people get to the polls to vote.
All right, definitely. We appreciate all the work because it can be a challenge. So now let me get into some questions so people get to know what Souls to the Polls is. What resources does Souls to the Polls, what are they focusing on for the general fall elections that are coming up?
Well, usually we want everybody to get to the polls to vote, but we usually focus on the churches. And we go into the churches and we educate the parishioners in the churches about any changes in the voting laws that would affect them when they go to the polls to vote, so they know what is expected of them when they get to the polls to vote. We also offer rides to the polls for those who don't have a car or they're handicapped. We offer rides to the polls to help people get to the polls. But my thing is the training to make sure people know what's expected of them when they vote. And that's with the absentee ballots and when you go to the polls to vote.
Mhm. Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, it's very important to get educated on, how to vote and what you're voting for and how to do it.
Right.
All right. And then is there any additional resources that are available for people when they get in contact with someone from Souls to the Polls?
Sure, you know what? People can always call me, and I don't mind putting my number out there. I'm at 414-899-3386. So if anybody has any questions about voter registration, absentee ballots, what to expect when they get to the polls to vote, or photo ID, I will do my best to answer those questions. And if I don't know the answer, I will find out the correct answer and get back to you. We also offer rides to the polls for early vote, but we will not be starting the early ride program until October 31st. And this is the telephone number you can call, 414-742-1060. Early vote starts today, October 25th until November 5th. And we also are offering rides on November 8th.
All right, awesome. All right. Very, very essential. Yes, very important.
If you have any other questions or you want to go to our website, that's www.soulstothepollswisconsin.org.
All right. And then do you think you could spell that? There's a few variations of souls to souls, the word. Is it
Okay,
S?
it is Souls, SOULS, to the POLLSWI.org.
All right.
And it's a plethora of information there as well. But I'm always happy to answer any questions that anybody might have about voting.
All right, perfect. Thank you for being a resource to the people. We all appreciate your work very much. And
Thank
is there
you.
any additional information you'd like to give to the public? Any reminders?
If you're going to register to vote at the polls, make sure you bring proof of residence. You must live in your residence for 28 days. If you have not lived in your residence for 28 days, go back to your old polling site and vote. But please change your address. You can go to www.myvote.wi, and you can change your address. You can find out where your polling site is if you're unsure of that. So if you're going to register at the polls, make sure you bring proof of residence, and that can be a bill, a lease, a bank statement. Make sure you take your ID to the poll, and that can be a Wisconsin driver's license, state ID, a passport, Indian card, a veteran's card. There's a plethora of things that you can take as photo IDs when you go to the polls to vote.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for that information. Again, very helpful, very useful. It can be a whole task to vote if you don't have the right information. So we're glad there's, people like you and Souls to the Polls to help out. And all right, that concludes today's questionnaire interview. We appreciate you having been with us today, Anita. I hope you and everyone watching this has a good night, and everyone that's eligible remembers to vote. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
We invite you to share our feedback on today's Vote-A-Thon by filling out our form survey. We invite you to share our vote feedback on.
Okay, folks, we're on our number 4 opportunity for today's Vote-A-Thon to have you engage with us in some way. We've done 3 opportunities throughout the forum. Every time you have participated in one of those, you were entered into a drawing to receive $50. And so a total of 200, now 4 opportunities are available to be entered into, in addition to the social media, which will be the next promo we do. And you'll have opportunities to win $25 gift cards for each of our social media platforms. And I'll explain that in the next session. The one we're doing today is the survey of our forum. When the forum ends today, we'd like to know what was really useful for you and what we could do better. Because in essence, we're doing this to support your information needs and your ability to vote, to understand everything about voting and answer your last minute questions. And so we'd like you to fill out the forum survey. You'll see a slide appear shortly here on the camera, and it'll share a link and it'll share a QR code. And I've been sharing all day how to use a QR code, because the first time I did it, I was really confused. So what you do is there's a little box that appears with a bunch of squiggly designs on it. You take your camera and you put it over the QR code. You wait a little bit. It pops up a little yellow oval hotspot that if you click, it'll take you to the survey, or you can click on the link. The staff right now, I'm going to ask them to put up the former surveys in case you missed them. The first one was the post-pandemic survey. We want to know what your dreams and needs are as we make plans for SOC for the next couple of years. So we'll put the title post-pandemic survey in the comments. It'll have a link and the QR code for you to do that survey. None of these surveys take more than 5 minutes, so it's really a good use of your time, especially in light of being able to potentially win some cash to meet your family's needs or to have extra holiday spending money. And then the next one I'm going to ask the staff to put up again is the 30 plus 2 with you campaign link and QR code. And those of you who are willing to be an ambassador for your block, we ask you to fill out that survey. That means you're going to be handing out information and resources to your neighbors. You're willing to organize a cleanup on your block once a year, and you'll be listening to what your neighbors' needs are, and you can communicate that with us. We'll be meeting once a month virtually. We'll be meeting once a quarter in person and or virtually for some of those people who are homebound. And then the former one we shared, the third one, was if you're interested in joining us to form a monthly group that addresses issues in the community. We literally get together and talk about a topic and say, what do you think the real problems are? We've done COVID in the past. We've done affordable housing crisis. We've done hate crimes. We've done relations with the police department. And so you'll come together and say, this is what we think the problems are with these issues. These are some of the solutions. And then we share some data on the issue and some information from subject matter experts. And then you consider that while you finalize your plans. And then we decide what actions we take. Sometimes it's just sending recommendations to a certain body. Other times it's really digging in and making sure that the solutions are listened to and implemented by whatever officials are in charge of that. And so this one is the forum survey. And so I'll ask now for the slide for the forum survey to come up. You'll see the link, the QR code, and you can fill it out. Make sure you do all of these by the end of the day in order to be entered into the drawing. And then tomorrow, we'll post the winners on Facebook Live. Go ahead and pull up that slide, please.
Hello, everybody that's just joining us. Up next, we have an interview with Nick Ramos, Voter ID Coalition Coordinator with VoteRiders. VoteRiders, I'm sorry.
All right, hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Jinx, and I am a program assistant here at Southside Organizing Center, also called SOC. Today's guest is Nick from VoteRiders. Welcome, Nick. Please introduce yourself and let our neighbors know what your role with VoteRiders is.
Well, thank you, Jinx. My name is Nick Ramos. I am the Wisconsin Voter ID Coalition Coordinator with VoteRiders. And so with that position, I run the organization statewide, and we help people get vital documents like IDs, birth certificates, and social security cards.
All right, awesome. So with general elections coming up on November 8th, do you think you could go into a little bit more of what VoteRiders does for the community?
Absolutely. So in my role, I work with a variety of partners across the entire state that do really good work within the communities that they live and that they serve in. And we try and identify those individuals who may lack a valid issued government ID or the vital documents that one would need to be able to acquire that ID. And in Wisconsin, typically, that would be a birth certificate or a social security card. And so what we constantly try and do is we try and get information out to those communities and let them know that there's this free resource. VoteRiders pays for the documents that one would need to be able to get an ID. So if you needed a birth certificate, we'll pay for it. If you need to get an ID, we'll pay for it. Social security cards are free, but a lot of times we have issues like trying to get people verified on the Social Security website. So what we'll do is we'll pay for the transportation one would need to go to the Social Security office that's close to them, and then be able to get that Social Security card. And so it's a lot of community events, a lot of programming around, neighborhoods across the state of Wisconsin to let people know so that they can not feel like there's a ton of barriers when it comes to like getting those documents.
It can get pretty complicated for voting for the average person who, it's paperwork in places and you got to get the right timing. And so, that's a great resource to know. And then, so let's say someone does have to get, a birth certificate to vote. Where could they go or who could they get in contact with for that?
Absolutely. So if you have access to the internet, you can go on to our website, which is voteriders.org. If you have access to a phone, you can call our hotline, which is you can call 24 hours a day. And especially during election time, I'm almost positive right now that they're taking live phone calls. So that number is 844-338-8743. And then you can also email us. We have an email. It's info@voteriders.org. And then another thing I forgot to mention, on Facebook, we have a chat bot. So if you go and search VoteRiders, you can literally go onto our page, and then a chat bot will appear, and it'll ask if you want us to speak to you in English or in Spanish, and then if you need ID help, and then you'll get connected with a live, breathing human being that will work with you on acquiring whatever documents you need.
All right, perfect. All right, thank you for all that information. That's very, very vital, especially seeing as things somehow get complicated as the years go by for voting. We'll plug in all those numbers in the comments as well. So thank you for all that information. Very good for the community to have. Is there any last reminders you want to give to the people?
Whenever you're seeing this, I encourage everybody, whether you decide you want to vote in this election or you decide you want to vote in a future election, to, come up with that plan. And, if you need help, like acquiring documents, or you just want information about polling location, registration, any of that stuff, you can contact VoteRiders. We're not married to any election. We want to help you acquire these documents not only for voting, but also for jobs, for housing. So please, whether it's now or whether it's down the road, just know that you have an organization that will work with you wherever you're at in the process and help you get the documents you need.
All right, perfect. Thank you for all the information. And all right, well, we appreciate you for being here with us today, Nick. We hope you and everyone watching this has a good night. I hope everyone who is eligible remembers to vote and everyone goes out there and uses the resources that they have. All right, have a good day.
Hey, you too.
Go ahead.
As we close this segment of the Vote-A-Thon, we hope to encourage your actions on two things today. The first is ensuring your vote is powerful all year round, and second is to join with SOC in the work we do with and for the community.
Today is a critical democracy day where you vote for the people who will represent you. It is important for you to stay connected to your vote all year round, and by holding your elected officials accountable to their promises and roles, and also by following what is happening with your taxes and what they are used for, and by following what action is happening in policies and decisions. We will see you soon at 2 p.m. for our next Vote-A-Thon Live.
Has this live forum been informative and useful to you? What part of the forum could be improved or changed to make it better? Please take our quick survey that's located in our comments section so that we can get your feedback on how to keep this live forum going for residents. Thanks for tuning in.